Hey y'all, welcome to my second official I Said What I Said episode. Today we are going to be talking about a variety of things. I got some crazy tweets I want to talk about. I got some tweets I want to bitch about. We're going to talk about Becky Lynch. We're going to talk about Liv Morgan. We're going to talk about the Judgment Day. We're going to talk about Sexy Red and Saweetie, which is a curveball. I'm also going to talk about SummerSlam, and we're going to talk about Harrison Butker. So we got a variety for you today. First and foremost, I thought it would be fun to just kind of go through like some random shit on Twitter. First and foremost, Danielle Fishel said, and I quote, "At some point in my life, I want to be put through a table." Listen, that is my bitch, okay? For those of you who do not know, Danielle Fishel played Topanga in Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World is like my all-time favorite TV show. I grew up watching it. I still watch it to this day. If I ever had children, they'll grow up watching Boy Meets World, okay? It's a requirement. Iconic show. An iconic character in Topanga. She is also a huge wrestling fan, which is also amazing. And she did, like, I guess an interview with Fightful or something, and they posted the article saying, like, she literally said, "At some point in my life, I want to be put through a table." I will literally pass the fuck out. Like, I've been trying to think of, like, who are some dream celebrities. Like, we got Jason Kelce. I think Travis Kelce would be amazing. Danielle Fishel would be amazing. Me, personally, I think Ariana Grande would be super fun. I don't think she would ever do it, but it'd be really fun for me. But there's so many, like, athletes and actors that you could so easily, like, they've had some good ones. Like, Snooki was good for the time frame that they did it in. Jason was great, like, post Super Bowl, like, the whole thing. Like, they've had some really great, like, celebrity pop-ups, but I would love to see more. So comment below some celebrities that you would love to see pop up. Athletes, actors, whatever, musicians that you'd love to see pop up in WWE, AEW, wherever, just in wrestling. Next, I want to talk about something fun. So, Mercedes Moné in AEW literally just won the women's TBS title, right? Okay, I'm sure most of us know that. Saraya has already tweeted at her, hinting at potentially a future feud, and I am so fucking excited. I wanted to talk about Mercedes just a little bit because I've heard kind of mixed reactions to her first match being a title shot in AEW, and then obviously her winning it in her first match. And I think it goes like a little back and forth. Like, on one hand, I get that being kind of frustrating, especially if you're like a really big Willow fan, like obviously the person losing the title. Or I think in AEW, a lot of people just want the women to be pushed. So I get like a really big star coming in and like she doesn't even wrestle until the pay-per-view where she wins the title. I get that could be a little frustrating. On the flip side of that, like, I think it just happens so much in, like, the history of wrestling that, like, truly it doesn't really bother me. It's kind of what I expected to happen. Sorry. But also, like, Johnny always says, like, Mercedes is a huge fucking star. Like, of course you want your huge star to have the title. And I thought it was also really cool that they had Sky Blue wrestle her this week on Dynamite. I thought that was super cool because that was just very unexpected. Sky Blue was the one that attacked her, and then she got a match. It does seem like they're pivoting a little bit to, oh my god, what's her name? Stephanie Vakir is how you, I don't know if I'm saying that right. They're pivoting a little bit because Forbidden Door is coming up, but I really like Sky Blue getting this really big push. I think an upside to a big star like Mercedes having the title is no matter who you put her with, they're also a star. Like, those people become stars. They become big names because that's what everybody's talking about. And it's a really good opportunity for people like Sky Blue, who previously hasn't really had that much going on since Julia Hart's been out injured. This could be a great opportunity for her. So I'm super excited. I'm really for it. There are certain things that I'm willing to, like, go back and forth on and kind of, like, bitch and complain about, and, like, this is just not one of them. I'm gonna be honest. So Wrestle Talk had posted a tweet basically talking about Mercedes discussing a potential future match with Saraya. And she was like, "I'm here to face everybody, every woman here. So if Saraya wants to be on the list, she's more than welcome to wrestle me. But she's not going to get any of my titles, that's for sure." And then Saraya quote tweeted it, tagged Mercedes, and was like, "I've waited over 6 years to take more than just your championship. Let's go, baby girl." Bitch, I'm so ready for that. I'm so ready. I know Saraya doesn't necessarily wrestle the way that she used to, and I get why, but I'm so happy to see her, and I love this. I love this idea. I love this feud. There's just so much potential with Mercedes and AEW, and it's one of those dream things where, like, you never think a really big star is gonna switch companies, and we're actually getting that and have that opportunity right now with Mercedes to have her wrestle all these different people. I'm so fucking excited. Okay, so on the flip side of that, I want to talk, this is some like dumbass shit that I saw. So somebody quote tweeted, so Russell Purist put, Darby Allin just set Jack Perry on fire. This is insane. Hashtag AEW double or nothing. Which, by the way, still gives me so much fucking anxiety. But anyway, so they tweeted that, and then somebody quote tweeted that and was like, CM Punk is proven right every week with these idiots, right? So if y'all don't know my girl Chrissy, I love this girl. She goes by Chrissy Ann now. She used to go by Luna Havoc. I follow her on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube. I believe she does a lot of WrestleMania reviews, if you want to check that out. But go check her out. She's so fucking funny. She, like, we relate a lot. And she literally, like, screenshotted an old tweet of this same person who said, we just saw Randy Orton RKO a man on fire. We're closing out 2020 on a better note than we entered it. And she just goes, ... question mark. Here's what I'll never understand. And I would like to believe that nobody watching this video is actually one of these people. But, like, that guy, he tweeted that either just, like, completely stupid and unaware of, like, forgot that he had tweeted that or, like, had that opinion, or, like, genuinely didn't think that anybody would find that old tweet of him literally being a hypocrite. Like, and this happens so fucking often. It's always one of two things with, like, these dumbass wrestling fans. It's either they post something like this that is, like, completely hypocritical and opposite of what they said previously, but they're too stupid to take down the old tweet, so then people find it, or the old video, and people find it, and then, like, what the fuck is this then, because you just said this, like, not that long ago, and then they're like, ooh, and they have to, like, usually they'll either bully you because they have no response, or they're gonna make up, like, some dumbass excuse, which is really just hidden tribalism, and it doesn't make a difference, or it's literally people who are, like, they'll like comment something on your video or like whatever, and they don't take 5 seconds to like do the research and look into like your stuff. So I get this a lot on TikTok, and it's always when I post AEW. I never get this from people who hate WWE. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of people who like are AEW tribalists. Like, I know those people exist. I just personally always get the hate from WWE tribalists who hate AEW. But anyway, so the other option is, like, I'll post something about AEW, like, praising it, and there's always at least a couple comments that are like, oh my god, you're such an AEW mark, you're such an AEW dick rider, Tony Khan dick rider, like, da-da-da. And basically, the point is always, like, they think that I only watch AEW and I hate on WWE. And I'll be like, I literally post about WWE all the time. Honestly, lately, probably more than AEW. But I still get the comments no matter what. Or they'll say, like, if I say, like, oh, I hate, like, a lot of the response I got when I was talking about, like, I hated Roman's title reign because, like, he doesn't show up, all the stuff, you know, that's not new information, all that stuff. And I would get people being like, I bet you didn't say that for Brock. And I'd be like, go fuck yourself. I fucking did, because I hate Brock Lesnar. I hate him even more now. But back then, I hated him still. I'd be like, go fuck yourself, because I fucking did. And all you would have to do is, like, just look through some of my videos. Like, you'd type in Marissa Brock Lesnar or whatever. Like, it would probably come up. Like, this is the stuff that, like, drives me absolutely insane. This is why people are so fucking dumb. There was also the person who paid for an AEW ticket, an AEW seat, and brought a sign that said Triple H is your daddy. Why? 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 I'm assuming if you feel that way, you don't really like AEW, but you paid the money to AEW to go sit there. I also have a problem with, like, just in general, like, people doing that to, like, buy out seats, and so, like, then fans can't go. Like, if that makes sense, like, people who actually want to go maybe can't go because you're buying out seats. Granted, this is one seat, hopefully. This was only one seat this dude took up. But still, like, it's so fucking annoying. Like, please get a life, get a job, get a hobby, get something. Get something to do with yourself, because you seem to need the help. Going on to something else that was completely crazy. So this is referencing Chrissy again, okay? But y'all gotta hear me out. Bully Ray, bro. I understand and respect what he did as his time in wrestling as a wrestler, But like the last couple of years, I literally cannot fucking stand this man. This little boy in a man's body. I literally can't stand him. He's so just like ignorant and obnoxious and disrespectful, and now sexist. It's fucking awesome. Bully Ray tweets, so far ... this feels more like an infomercial for Double or Nothing than a go home show, right? And yeah, of course, like they had promo packages and stuff that they were doing on the Dynamite for Double or Nothing. I didn't think it was that nearly that fucking dramatic. Like I didn't even notice there were that many video packages. Maybe I don't pay attention. I don't know. But so Chrissy quote tweeted it, and she goes, so now we're complaining that we're getting people hyped for a pay-per-view before the pay-per-view. He responds to her. Y'all, I can't. He responds to her. And he goes, is this really a complaint, Chrissy? ... I think not. More of an observation by the trained eye of a pro who has been doing this for a while and has learned from the best. Calm down. It's fucking video packages, my guy. Calm down. Then he goes, so basically, shut your fucking pie hole, toots. Your ignorance is showing. Take care. Brush your hair. I don't know if he went with that last part just because it rhymed, but I cannot tell you the last time I genuinely heard somebody deadass say the word toots. Toots? What in the fucking 1968 are we in right now? What is toots? Don't ever say that again, right? So it continues. Because Chrissy's not going to take that shit. This is why I love her. So she quote tweets that. And she goes, not a balding fish molester telling me about my hair. I've never seen that picture, and that's fucking creepy. But facts. And she was quick on this shit, too. This was amazing. So he goes, the fish is better than your avatar with a kissy face and a laughing face. Not a great response. So she goes, I am forever grateful for that information. And he goes, you're welcome. I'm glad I could help. My pleasure. Now, and this is where Marissa has, I almost fucking lost it. He goes, know your role. Shut your mouth, move along, and go be a fan. Excuse me? Bitch? You're whining and complaining about a company you have nothing to do with. Like an old, nasty man bitch. And you have the fucking audacity. Let's break this down, shall we? Know your role. They're basically in the same role. Bully Ray does not work for AEW. He has nothing to do with AEW. He's literally a content creator on a podcast. Now, does he have a history of being a wrestler? Absolutely, but not in AEW. Not correlating. In this specific moment, they are in the same role. They are both people tweeting about a show. There's not a ton of difference here. Shut your mouth is wild for a man who quite literally never shuts the fuck up. I have never once in my life seen something, heard something, was about to do something, and thought, I need to know Bully Ray's thoughts on this. That has never occurred in my entire life. I could watch ladder matches, tag team wrestling, a throwback show of fucking whenever the hell he used to wrestle in like fucking 2000. I have never once thought to myself, I wonder what Bully Ray thinks about this. I need to know that information. Please tell me. I've never. That's never happened. Ever. In my entire life. And then he says, move along and go be a fan. Babes, you're not a wrestler anymore. You're a fan. You're a fan. And the amount that you fucking talk about AEW, you're a fan of AEW. You're a fan. You're a little fanboy. It's honestly, it's a little obsessive. Okay? So I'm not done yet. So she responds back and goes, is it fans that can't speak or women? Might as well ask since you want to stay active on my page. Motherfucker never answered. Listen. I fucking popped when I saw that tweet pop up because you know damn well I was following the conversation. He never fucking answered because he got called out for being a misogynistic fucking bitch. And you know what? I think not answering was probably the worst idea because it just shows that she's correct. He got called out and he had no response because he was being sexist. Ding, 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 we have a winner. And it ain't Bully Bitch. Okay? It ain't Bully Bitch. I can't stand him. So anyway, that was some craziness. To bring it back to something a little more positive for today, I would like to talk about Jack Perry, who got screwed out of the TNT title. Fucking Christopher Daniels bald ass. Anyway, so I wanted to take a second because I, for a really long time, always like shit on the Young Bucks and called them like the Rat Boys or whatever. It honestly really started from when I first started watching AEW and like people were like, oh my god, they're like the greatest tag team of all time. And I was like, the Hardys are the greatest tag team of all time. Don't ever say that to me again. I swear to God, I'll fucking block you. And I stand by that. For me, Hardy's greatest all time. Those are my boys. Those are my boys. And I'd never seen the Young Bucks before AEW. Before March 2022 AEW. So I didn't know much about them. So I shit on them for a really long time. But, like, Matt and Nick, like, as people, I've actually come to have a lot of respect for. Like, the Young Bucks are different. But Matthew and Nicholas, I have come to have a lot of respect for. So I want to talk a little bit about the whole Jack Perry thing because, I'm not talking about CM Punk, I'm not talking about the stupid fight. I'm talking about just, like, I didn't realize that, like, they were kind of in communication with Jack, like, the whole time that, like, he took time off and was suspended and, like, he went to New Japan and, like, they were talking to him kind of through that process, which I never knew. So they did an interview, I guess, with Sports Illustrated. And so I want to read just some of the quotes from it. So Matt had said, we had kept an eye on him, Jack Perry, the entire time that he was gone, and we helped him navigate the situation, a familiar one that we'd also gone through. We also talked him down a few times. We gave him advice on how to succeed in Japan, and it felt like he was our little brother. Oh, do I have to be a Young Bucks fan? Guys, I might have to be a Young Bucks fan. I just thought that was, like, super sweet. But there's another quote as well. I believe this is also from Matt. He said, Jack unfairly ate crap for a very long time, so we had a lot of empathy for him, and we were very excited to help launch his comeback. We gave him advice on how to succeed in Japan. It felt like he was our little brother. We saw him for the first time since All In. We met him in our private jet and talked endlessly the entire flight. Little humble brag right there. We let him get it all out of his system, but assured him that this would be a fresh start, and I was so thrilled to hear and see the groundswell for him when he appeared for the first time. It was like a rebirth for him. So fucking accurate. But, like, genuinely shout out to the Young Bucks, because I feel like as time goes on in wrestling, like, we're learning more and more about, like, how shitty a lot of these people are. And I think it sucks. And I don't think it's just wrestling. I think it's in sports in general, the world in general. But, like, I've talked a little bit about, like, I think I talked about this more on the Patreon half of my I Said What I Said in episode 1. But just about, like, how there's been some disappointment for me with Triple H over the last, like, year or so. Just as, like, Triple H was somebody I grew up kind of idolizing and somebody that I loved. And I always put him in my top 10, like, favorites of all time in wrestling. And I've just had some struggles there over the last year or so. And so I just think it's really nice to see something like the Young Bucks kind of talk about him. And, like, it's very obvious that, like, they really kind of have kept Jack under their wing throughout this process. Obviously, like, they were the ones that brought him back. They've been with him the whole time. And, I mean, he's grown. Jack has grown immensely. I literally feel like a proud mama bear watching him do, like, these awesome promos now. And the character works amazing and, like, all these things. But I just wanted to, like, kind of put that out there because I feel like we hear more negative than positive in the world of wrestling. And so, although I'm still iffy on the Young Bucks, like, my EVPs, I'm like, oh, respect my EVPs. Which I do, but, like, I want to talk about, like, Matt and Nick for a second and just kind of give them some credit and, like, some respect that they really went out and, you know, helped him through this process. Because, honestly, one of my worries, like, this might sound stupid and, like, overbearing, but one of my, like, things that I thought of was, like, oh my god, is he, like, kind of doing this by himself? Like, obviously he's dating Anna Jay, and I'm sure that she was very helpful and supportive, like, through the whole thing, but I was like, is he kind of, like, going through this by himself? Like, that's a really hard thing when, like, the internet hates you and everybody's attacking you and so many people are taking the wrong person's side. I said what I said. And, like, that's a really hard thing to kind of go through and not really be able to respond or do anything about it. So I'm really glad that, like, he actually had people kind of on his side for that whole thing. Alright, so next I'm going to talk about the Judgment Day. So let's switch gears to WWE for a little bit. So this shit is getting crazy. So I first put this in, like, my notes as, like, an idea to talk about, like, 2 weeks ago, and so much has happened in 2 weeks. I literally can't even process it. One, on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do you think Triple H reamed out USA for cutting off the Dom kiss for USA viewers? I'm thinking 15. Like, out of 10. I'm sure that was not intentional, obviously, but, like, that's, like, a crazy big moment that all of the US just got cut off from, and I can't even believe that happened. It's so fucking crazy. Triple H, maybe try sharing your, you know, plan for the show with USA so it doesn't happen again. Let them know, like, hey, this is coming. Don't cut till after that. It's a thought. But there's a few different things here. So, like, I was going to talk about, like, the Becky hate, which I still think is crazy. But I want to talk about Liv. I want to talk about Dom. I want to talk about all the theories. There's just so much going on here. And I think it's also hard because, like, yes, Liv kissed Dom. But Liv has also been seen, like, talking to Finn, getting out of the car with Finn, going backstage with Dom, talking to JD backstage. The only one she hasn't been seen talking to is Damien. I guess R-Truth, if you count him. But it's just, like, what I like about it is they're really keeping us on our toes. So, like, obviously everybody was like, oh, it's Dom. It's gonna be Dom. That's who she's going after. Like, that's whose bandana's in her pocket, like, the whole thing. And then she gets out of the car with Finn. And it's like, okay, oh, no, so it's actually Finn. It's not Dom. And then Dom helps her win accidentally twice. And I'm like, okay, maybe it is Dom. And then somebody was talking about something with JD's bandana. And then she was seen talking to JD. And they were like, oh, maybe it's JD. And then they're like, well, maybe it's JD and Finn. Maybe it's everybody. Maybe Dom was never trying to actually help. Like, all this craziness. And I'm just like, I thrive in the chaos. Like, I love chaos in wrestling. Like, me personally. Like, when, like, Anarchy in the Arena. I love that shit. I love when it's chaotic. And there's just, like, people flying around everywhere. There's a million things going on. Like, that's just me, my favorite thing in wrestling. I don't like order. I like chaos. Now, like, from the time that I originally wrote this down to now, like, I don't think there's a very clear, like, I think this is what's happening. I think they could go, honestly, either way. I do still kind of think, like, when Damien was like, hey, have you talked to Rhea, to Dom? He's like, you guys are good? And Dom's like, yeah, like, what are you talking about? Like, he was, like, confused. I do feel that one thing makes me think maybe they're going to say, like, Finn is the one helping Liv because they used to team together against the Judgment Day before Finn joined, which I think would be really cool to kind of bring that group back. Hell, bring AJ Styles into it. What the fuck do I care? I think that would be super cool to, like, keep Dom with Rhea, although then now the kiss kind of makes, like, and people are like, he's still liking her stuff on social media. He didn't push away. And then the Dom, like, fan sites are like, well, he only has one arm. He can't push away. It's just, like, there's so much, like, discourse back and forth between it that I'm just, like, I'm so excited for it. And I don't know if this is disappointing, but I don't even have a theory right now. I think I'd like to see it be Finn because I just really want something big for Finn. Like, I just want him to get a push or a something. Like, I was really excited for the Damien Finn feud when we all thought that was coming, and they kind of just threw it away, which I was sad about. But, like, Finn Balor is such an amazing talent, an amazing wrestler. He's good on the mic. He has everything. And it just makes me a little sad to, like, not really see him be doing anything except backstage, like, funny moments and then, like, losing with JD McDonough. Like, that's just sad for me a little bit. So I'd love to see him be maybe the one who's, like, been helping Liv, and because he's like, I should be the leader. You and Rhea took over, and it should have been me, or, you know, whatever. But I'd love to see something cool like that. I also wanted, this is a little bit older now, but I want to talk about the Becky hate because I genuinely don't understand it. Like, on one hand, I somewhat hear out the thought of, like, she's always in everything. They always give her the title. And it's like, yeah, but, like, she's a really big star. Like, what do you want them to do? And also, that's not necessarily her fault. And if you really took some time to, like, look at what Becky's done in the last, like, year and a half. I don't know. I don't have a concept of time. But if you really went to look at it, like, she did the story with Trish last year. That was literally amazing. Like, the cage match with Trish Stratus was one of my top women's matches of the entire year last year. I loved that match. It was a banger. It was so good. But she did, like, that story with Trish, which was, like, really, really good. And for, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's always Becky, Becky, Becky. And it's like, that match got stripped from the pay-per-view. Was that SummerSlam, I think? It got, like, pulled off of it or whatever. Like, so she was doing that. Then what I thought was really cool was her going down to NXT. And I'm usually against like big stars going down to NXT because it's almost kind of like it's unfair. But I thought it was really cool that she took like Tiffany and Lyra and literally like made them fucking stars. Like they were already great, obviously. But like her match with Tiffany, the like, oh my god, what was it called? It was like, it was a no DQ. It was the match with like all the weapons and shit, whatever that match was. That was my favorite match, my favorite women's match of the entire year last year. I loved that match so much. But it was like, that was a huge like push for Tiffany. That was a huge, I'm sure, part of like that whole feud in those matches. I'm sure were a huge part of like her getting that recognition and like eventually being moved up to the main roster. I'm pretty sure that was in like October, November maybe, and she got called up in what, like February or March? February, I think. So it was like, that was like a really quick turnaround, and I think that had a lot to do with it. So like that's her really helping that younger talent. Did the same thing with Lyra. She took an L from Lyra, which I genuinely didn't think that they were gonna do, but I thought that was awesome also. And then like now moving forward from that, like, so Lyra has that title in probably November, December, somewhere around there, whatever that was. Fast forward, she gets called up during the draft, and then she almost makes it to the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. Like, that's literally insane. But, like, this is some of the stuff that, like, I've seen a lot of people talk about with Becky, is she's a really, really big advocate for, like, pushing young talent, but also for, like, getting women on screen. Like, whatever that last... There was a match that Tegan Nox was supposed to be in. I think they cut it anyway. But, like, that was Becky's idea, to try to get Tegan on TV. And there were a couple other examples of, like, her trying to get women on TV. I think Candice and Indy were one. And then she had that really cool moment with Maxine after Maxine was getting, like, literally booed out the fucking building at some obnoxious fucking live event show. And as she's walking to the ring, like, you know, one of those shots where, like, she's just kind of walking and they're talking about, like, her next match or whatever, and she passes Maxine, stops and goes back and is like, you're doing fucking awesome. That's not what she said, but she was like, you're doing great, like, da-da-da, like, give her a little pet talk. And it didn't look scripted. Even if it was, like, that was fucking cool. Like, I'm sure Maxine needed to hear that, because she, like, that was, I still was so mad that she got booed like that. That was so fucking ignorant and insane. But, like, stuff like that is where it's like, you can't make me hate Becky. I pick Liv over Becky because, like, Liv is my girl, but, like, you're never gonna make me hate Becky, because it's, like, even if you don't, like, love everything that Becky does, like, it's in front of your face, the things that she does for young talent and trying to get women on TV. And if you hate that, you might just hate women. That might just be a you problem. So next I want to talk about Sexy Red and Saweetie, because I don't know what's happening, but, like, these women are entering the wrestling space. So obviously Sexy Red was on NXT, and she's hosting Battleground now. And then Saweetie showed up at it's not New Japan, but it was a Japanese wrestling show in New York, and she popped up there. Now it's like multiple different people popping up into wrestling, which I think is really fucking cool. I personally do not know much about Sexy Red. I believe Johnny has heard of her. But I thought she was really cool. Like, she wasn't in the NXT show, like, that much. But I thought it was really cool to, like, see somebody, like, a celebrity outside of the wrestling world kind of pop in. And she's gonna be hosting Battleground, which I think is fun. She obviously got along with Trick very well. I'm not sure how Lash feels about that, but Javon Evans was very excited. But I just think that was really cool. Also, shout out to Shawn Michaels. Not only did he get Sexy Red to come onto the show, he's been putting on great shows, good matches. He's got Battleground coming up, but he's got Jordan fucking Grace. What? And she's going to be doing 2 matches. We obviously don't know what the other one is, but she's getting paid in the 6 figures, so $100K minimum, because we don't know what her contract is, or whatever it is, to do 3 appearances on NXT. One was obviously the one she just did. One will be Battleground, and I don't know what the third one is. I'm assuming it's a match. That's literally insane. But, like, shout out Shawn Michaels. He did change his Twitter profile picture to him, like, in a chef's outfit with the chef's hat, like, as he's cooking, which is great. But I just thought that was really cool. And Jordan, Grace, and Roxanne is gonna be such a fucking, like, we're streaming it now. Like, we've decided to stream it because that's gonna be an insanely cool match. And I know a lot of people are waiting for Julia. It would be really cool to see Julia kind of pop up maybe after the Jordan feud. I know she's hurt. I don't know how long her timeline is to like get back in the ring. But so much is going on with NXT. It's literally so cool. But so much is going on with NXT, and it's so cool, and I'm so excited. I'm going to touch on the 2-night SummerSlam a little bit, because a couple people asked me, and I was like, I'm going to talk about it, and I said what I said, so go watch it. I kind of hate it. I'm going to be real. I don't want to, like, be a hater, but I just, like, I understood why WrestleMania went 2 nights. It's the biggest event of the year. They put so much into it, and it's a big ass spotlight. Like, so it does get more people on the card. I just don't want this to, like, be a thing. Like, I don't want it to be WrestleMania's 2 nights. Well, now SummerSlam's 2 nights. Well, now Royal Rumble's 2 nights. Well, now Survivor Series is 2 nights. Like, I don't want to keep adding that. Because it's, like, it also makes it so much harder for people to go to these shows. Like, WrestleMania was so fucking expensive. And I've talked about this a lot. Just being, like, it was so expensive for the tickets and the hotel. And then, like, luckily we got to drive. But, like, what if we had to fly? Like, just so expensive. And now it's like, I get, like, wanting to put more people on the card, but simultaneously it's like, that just makes it so much harder for fans and so much harder for people to go. Like, even though SummerSlam is in Cleveland this year, like, we were like, I don't know if we want to, like, we might just save money, stay home, like, not get tickets, because tickets have been, some of these tickets are worse than Mania. Like, comparing the stadiums and, like, where, like, the seats, like, where they are, like, in comparison, worse than Mania. That's literally fucking insane. But anyway. But now, it's like, okay, so in 2026, SummerSlam's gonna be 2 nights. Is it gonna be 2 nights in 2025? Is 2026 the first time they do that? Like, we don't know. Probably, but we don't know. And it's like, what's gonna come after that? Like, is that the new thing for SummerSlam going forward? Like, it's always gonna be 2 nights? Like, it's just so much, like, so now we're like, oh my god, we have to go to SummerSlam this year because it's here and because we can go for 1 night instead of it being 2 and it being so much more expensive. And I mean, I know it's more money for them. It's, you know, more in, like, ticket sales and, like, all that. And I get that from a business perspective, but it's just like, it feels like it's just never ending. That they're just, like, finding more ways for us to spend, like, not just spend more money, but spend a gigantic amount of more money. And it's just, I think it's frustrating as a fan. And for those people who are like, I don't care, I'm going anyway, or, like, you have the money, you're not worried about it, or, like, whatever it is, like, cheers to you. Love that for you. Me, I don't want to spend that much money on anything that's not a WrestleMania, respectfully. And so, final topic here. I have definitely posted about this a little bit, but I wanted to touch on it. Harrison Butker, because listen. I don't think I made a TikTok on this because I was going to talk about it here. But here's my overall thought. The umbrella thought to start. If I am okay with people believing and thinking and, like, doing whatever they want to do as far as, like, their religious views. You go do it. The only problem I have is when you kind of force it onto other people. That's what frustrates me, because regardless of religion or, like, what you believe in, I'm sure there's somebody out there that will match you in those views and in what you want out of, like, a partner and a marriage and out of life, etc. So what bothers me is, like, the people who try to force it onto the people who don't believe in that. And that's in my opinion, the worst part about what Harrison Butker did. Because hear me out. It's obnoxious and ignorant and rude and disrespectful, in my opinion, for him to be like, my wife's life started when she married me and became a mother. Like, that to me is so fucking ignorant and obnoxious. Like, no, my life started the day I was born, but thank you. But, like, if his wife also believes that, then, like, that's just kind of their thing. That's what y'all want to do. That's what you want to believe and say. That doesn't affect me. That's not my problem. Y'all live your life. I didn't even know that about him. Like, I've been a fan of him for years. I had no fucking idea. But, like, that's your thing. What bothers me, and, like, and maybe it's because he's literally fucking stupid. Probably not, but, like, maybe. But, like, you're going to make a commencement speech for college graduates, plenty of which are female. if you're talking to female college graduates, more than likely they're probably not going to want to be stay-at-home moms. Maybe some of them do. That's totally fine also. However, I would assume they're getting a degree because they want to go out and like have a job, have a career, build a life, do all that stuff. So like when you're telling them literally that you've been lied to your entire life, all of this is worthless and you'd be better if you were a stay-at-home mother, that's so fucking obnoxious and rude. Like, you, like, it's literally like when people are always like, you need to read the room. Like, he ignored the room. It's not that he couldn't read the room. He didn't give a fuck about the room and who was in the room. There's no audience awareness. And to me, it's just like, I know that there are plenty of people out there who believe in that. Although I don't agree with it, that's kind of a them problem. But it's just so hard when it's like, I couldn't even imagine being one of those female students. I paid thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars for this college degree. I'm finally graduating after, you know, probably 4 years. And this is the person y'all picked to do our speech. Maybe somebody should have looked it over first. Maybe should double checked. Had it previewed. Maybe. I do know Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes have talked about it, and I personally liked both of their responses. They were basically like, yeah, I don't really agree with what he said, but that's kind of his problem. I do think it's funny that people are bringing back the video of Patrick when he was like, I don't talk to Harrison Butker except like during games. He was like, off season, like, I don't talk to him. I don't. And now everybody's like, well, we see why. Now we get it. And Travis was like, I don't agree with most of what he said. Well, I don't really agree with anything that he said other than that he loves his wife. It's like, oh my God. But yeah, I think it's just, I love the outrage personally. I also think it's almost just like, it's also just kind of terrifying because simultaneously as you see the outrage, you also see all the people supporting him. That's so scary. Like, he became like a top selling jersey after that came out. That's so terrifying. And it's like, I think it's even more so terrifying because I bet you a lot of the men who purchased that jersey, their like wives or like people around them like don't know that he truly feels that way. And that's what's fucking insane. So I guess my point here, because I don't want to go on for too long, is Harrison Butker, shut the fuck up. Keep it at home. No one outside of your house cares. Also, your mother's a literal physicist. Take your mommy issues to fucking therapy instead of putting it on everybody else. Also really funny because I said Harrison Butker and Harry just like. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching this half of my I Said What I Said. Second half, as always, we put up on our Patreon, tiers 2 and up, so feel free to come hang out with me. I'm going to talk about a lot more stuff. I'm going to get into some of my personal life stuff. I'm going to go in depth on some other wrestling things. It's going to be very similar to this, so hope to see y'all there. But if not, I will have a new episode coming out in just a couple weeks. So like and follow and subscribe and all those things, and thank you so much for watching.